December 15th, Rich is on a plane to Bern, Switzerland to host Race to the World First Vault for World of Warcraft on the Echo channel. Meanwhile, his girlfriend is having a viral moment on a clip discussing his obsession with wanting to see her pregnant.
100%. You have a type.
He has a pregnant fetish. He really wants to get me pregnant.
Ooh, that's kind of hot though.
He has a what?
He wants to get me pregnant.
324, he tweets, just had an awkward conversation with my parents that started with, "We were on Instagram." He replies to a random person at 3:35 saying, "Bro, I'm literally flying to Switzerland to play WoW right now." Someone's not so happy about his girlfriend's viral moment.
Hey, my name is Azalia Lexi.
Former lover Azalia Lexi goes onto her Twitter account and accuses Rich of assault. She posts, "I know Mia Malkova isn't lying about Rich Campbell's pregnancy fetish because he said he wanted to get me pregnant while he assaulted me and then sent me to the street at 3 a.m. by myself with nowhere to go." 11:46 the next day, Azalia posts a Twit longer accusing OTK founder Rich Campbell of the most heinous crime a man can commit against a woman. At this point, Rich is live on air. He seems agitated, continuously checking his phone. What we now know is during the break, he gets a phone call from a high-ranking member at OTK letting him know about the Twit longer. He then goes back to recording. At the end of the set, he gets another phone call that changed his life from the same person at OTK and someone else. 4:46 p.m. Rich Campbell tweets, "I have read the statements against me today. I will share my side of the story, but I need some time to collect my thoughts. OTK has requested that I resign from my position, and I have agreed. I will make an update soon." 6:06 p.m. OTK tweets, "Rich Campbell has resigned effective immediately, and they stand against sexual harassment and assault, and they thank their community for their support." Rich Campbell's exit is another asterisk by OTK, as they were just coming off announcing that Ms. Kiff did not cover up anything with former best friend Crazy Slick assaulting Adriana Lee while she was passed out at a party. Ironically, Ms. Kiff, Crazy Slick, and Adriana Lee have pending defamation case as this video is being recorded. But what if I told you Rich Campbell did not write this tweet? What if Rich did not think that posting it he was truly resigning from the organization he helped found and help grow, that he did not agree to leave the organization? Today, you will finally get Rich Campbell's side of the story in the form of a defamation lawsuit filed against Azalia Lexi. But before we get to his lawsuit, we gotta cover her lawsuit that she filed against him. Rich Campbell allegations seem to unify the Twitch community. Everyone spoke on his allegations and came up with a similar outcome and outlook on the whole situation.
Nowadays, it's kind of scary to be like, hey, I think this person is kind of cool, nice guy, because like 4 years later you find out there's
one of the founders of OTK got exposed for essay and allegation.
I mean, it's a hit at OTK, but I mean, if nobody in the org had prior knowledge and nobody knew, and there's no shot anybody could have known, I mean, there's no point going after OTK.
I believe her account of the events here because they're pretty consistent with the text messages. So, you know.
The evidence first. I mean, if you're asking a question like this, that either implies that you haven't looked into it at all, okay, because there is plenty of evidence, or you have looked into it and no amount of evidence matters because you just want to fucking deny it.
The allegations must be true, because why would he resign? And why would OTK act so swiftly? These lawsuits are likely going to split the audience. One lawsuit, you're going to see Azalia Lexi furthering her case to show that, hey, crime was committed against her. And Rich Campbell will have to pay for that crime in the form of monetary losses. In the other lawsuit, people may see their favorite streamer finally sharing his side of the story, finally speaking out to clear his name, not in the court of public opinion with a Twit longer, but in the actual court of law to hold Azalia accountable for allegedly misleading millions of people, making Rich out to be someone he's truly not. The only difference I've seen on the surface of both of these lawsuits is one lawsuit that's Rich's may have a witness to clear his name. He also goes into detail on his exit from OTK and gives a side of the story that the world has never saw. Now, we all know someone who was falsely accused of committing a crime, as well as someone who was rightfully accused of breaking the law. And I'm not trying to steer you one way or another when it comes to Rich and Azalia, but I will provide you with all of the publicly, legally obtained information to help you make up your own mind. And all that I ask is that you do not harass either party, but feel free to share who you support at the end of this video and why. All right, before we get into her lawsuit against Rich, let's look at the Twit longer because to my surprise, there's an element in her lawsuit that is 100% absent from her Twit longer. Rich and I have a very up and down and off and on friendship and relationship for 4 years that started towards the end of his career on the Call of Duty desk. Our physical relationship started in Columbus, Ohio in 2019 and was a disaster from there. There were several times during the 4 years that he made it clear he only viewed me as a sexual object. But when I would confront him about it, I would get love bombed and gaslit into thinking that he cared about me and wanted to be with me. This would happen during the single periods of my life. As soon as I would be in a relationship, he would text me or call me. I would tell him I was seeing someone else. After he lied to me about having a girlfriend for an extended amount of time in June of 2021, I didn't speak to him or see him until he called me asking to apologize around the end of July, beginning of August. I also had a deep love for Rich as a person and friend. As the beginning of our friendship, he was there for me like not a lot of people are. So I gave him another chance to be friends. He told me he would prove to me that he was working on being a better person and that he wanted to be in my life. Then in October, he began his typical antics and begged me to come to Texas around his subathon. I said no because I did not think it was appropriate to stay with him because I did not want to sleep with him and that I did not trust him. He also came to LA in December of 2021 and asked to see me, but mainly was only asking me to come to his hotel. I said no due to the fact that I was not interested in having sex with him. There was not much communication until I was at French restaurant AOC in the Upper East Side on January 30th of this year with 2 girlfriends. As the night came to an end around 12 a.m., I Ubered to Rich's apartment in Williamsburg because he asked to see me. We were in the movie theater in his building and talking, and he repeatedly kept attempting to get me to lay on him. I repeatedly said, I'm not here to sleep with you, and I don't want that. At one point in the theater, he said, I think tonight is the last time I'm going to see you. After trying to speak to him for an hour about our relationship and the awful way he treated me, he just continued to deflect and said that there's no reason to talk about it because it made him feel bad. He said that we couldn't stay in that room and we needed to go up to his apartment per the apartment rules. I said I don't trust that, and he promised me that was the situation, that nothing would happen and was respecting the boundary I set. We go upstairs and he starts talking about how hot it would be if I got pregnant. Now the next part I can't say because YouTube would bury this video. Afterwards, I called my friend who I was staying with so I could come back, and she wasn't answering the phone because it was late at night and she was already asleep. Rich said I couldn't stay there. So I called the hotels around New York City looking for a cheap room. I asked her for the nearest subway and it was a 20-minute walk. Without saying anything to him, I left. I cried in his lobby, and as he texted me, "You okay?" I never replied. I left. I went to a sketchy hotel in Chinatown and processed it by myself. I left New York the next day and never spoke to Rich again. Now, after she posted her Twit longer, she got a ton of backlash, but people like, Charlie and Asmongo came to her defense, and I agree with the statements that they made.
You are not on our team. You are not helping us. You are not doing us any favors or doing anyone any favors by calling a girl that comes out and tells this kind of a story a liar.
Saw so many people in the comment section of her making that Twit longer, accusing her of just clout chasing and shit. That is the most terminally online brain dead take ever. Like, there's just legitimately nothing to gain.
See, unless you know something is not true, you should not be calling the people a liar. Now, you can suspect that they're maybe dishonest or embellishing, but calling someone as a liar is saying that you have undeniable proof that what they're saying is false. However, when we get to Rich's lawsuit, he calls her a liar and clout chaser. Here is the lawsuit filed by Alexis. I blocked out her last name because it's not something that's just publicly available. It was filed on December 4th, and I blocked out his address because in a way it doxes him. Now let's get to the lawsuit. She wants a trial by jury, which is standard. What does she say? Plaintiff Alexis complaining that the defendant by her attorneys respectfully allege upon information and belief that the following is true. The complaint is based on the defendant Richard Campbell's assault of plaintiff Alexis. The defendant Richard Campbell apartment, again blocked out. There's the parties. Now here are the facts of the case. On or about the early morning of January 31st, 2022, defendant Richard Campbell invited her to his apartment. Once the plaintiff arrived at his apartment building, he ushered her into the public movie theater in the aforementioned building so they could hang out. Once inside the movie theater, Campbell made several advances towards her, which she denied all of them. Now, the Twit longer mentioned this. After an hour or so, defendant Campbell told the plaintiff that they could no longer stay in the movie theater. As per the building's rules, it's going to close soon. Rich Campbell, according to her, then suggested that they should go to his apartment unit instead. She was hesitant to join him in his apartment, but he promised her that nothing sexual would happen. So she decided to join him upstairs. Once inside Campbell's apartment, he began touching himself and begging to be with her. He then attempted to take her clothes off, but she continued to deny his advances. Soon after, Campbell forced himself upon her and committed SA, and he also finished inside. His actions were intentionally done with malice, cruelty, and or deliberate willful wanton, which is just, intentionally trying to cause harm to her, and reckless indifference to her rights, and were done in conscious disregard of the probability that the conduct will result in harm to her physical and emotional well-being. His conduct was so outrageous, shocking, despicable, and contemptible that it exceeds reasonable bounds of decency as measured by the average member of the community would tolerate, and demonstrates an utter disregard for the consequences that will follow. As a result, Azalia is entitled to the recovery of both compensatory and punitive damages from the plaintiff, money. By reason of the foregoing, plaintiff has been damaged in a sum that exceeds the jurisdictional limits of all courts would otherwise have jurisdiction, which makes me question why didn't this get filed in federal court. As in for the first cause of action, assault, plaintiff reiterates, and realleges each and every allegation contained above, as if in the same were set forth more fully at length herein. In committing the sexual assault described herein, defendant Campbell had the real and apparent ability to cause imminent, harmful, or offensive bodily conduct to plaintiff, and intentionally did a menacing act in threatening such contact to her when she was under the influence of alcohol and unable to provide consent. This blame it on the alcohol theory was not mentioned in the Twit longer whatsoever that she made a year ago. The sexual assault and exploitation of Rich Campbell caused apprehension of such contact in plaintiff, which is her. The alleged conduct constituted sexual assault. The alleged conduct constituted a violation. As a direct and appropriate result of that intentional, harmful, and offensive conduct, plaintiff has suffered general and special damages. As for the second cause of action, sexual battery, plaintiff reiterates, and realleges each and every allegation contained above, as if the same were set forth fully in length herein. In committing sexual assault described herein, in committing SA described herein, defendant Campbell touched plaintiff without plaintiff's consent and with the intention of causing harmful, offensive bodily contact to the plaintiff. The alleged conduct constitutes battery. As a direct and proximate result of the intentional, harmful, offensive contact, she suffered general and special damages. They tacking on the charges. As for the third cause of action, intentional infliction of emotional distress, we've seen this. She, says, hey, the above is true. He engaged in reckless, extreme, and outrageous conduct by SA-ing her when she was under the influence and unable to provide consent. Now, the question I have to ask is, why was this theory of alcohol and unable to consent not mentioned in the Twit longer? I'm sure people are going to have some issue with me just asking that question, but his lawyer is going to ask. The defendant Campbell's misconduct was so shocking and outrageous that it exceeds the reasonable bounds of decency as measured by what the average member of the community would tolerate and demonstrate in utter disregard by defendant Campbell of the consequences that would follow. Defendant Campbell knew that his reckless, extreme, and outrageous conduct would inflict severe emotional and psychological distress on her, and she did in fact suffer severe emotional, psychological distress as a result, including severe mental anguish, humiliation, emotional and physical distress. Now this may be, I hate to say like a cookie cutter thing, but this typically goes with the, infliction of emotional distress. However, if you want to make your case stronger, like if you say, hey, I had trouble sleeping, I went to therapy, things like that, this did happen in the Cardi B case, which played well for her. By the way of this reckless, extreme, and outrageous conduct, defendant Campbell gained access to her and SA'd her. As for a fourth cause of action, violations of this code, she wants a jury. And it looks like she just wants a bunch of money, award and compensatory damages in the amount to be proved at trial by in any event in any in an amount that exceeds the jurisdictional limits of the lower courts, which would otherwise have jurisdictional to the extent permitted by law. She want money for punitive damages, lawyer fees. She want prejudgment interest, and awarding such other further relief. The only thing I'm curious about this lawsuit is, the alcohol theory was obviously not mentioned in the Twit longer, and why wait a year from now? Not sure. I'm sure people are going to have their theories. I'm sure she'll have something to say, but I'm also going to pose question to Rich Campbell's lawsuit, which we're about to get into right now. Now we have Rich Campbell's lawsuit against her, which he filed this on the 13th of December. He was suing her for defamation, intentional interference with a contract, intentional interference with prospective contracts, negligent interference with prospective contracts, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and he also wants a jury trial. Now, you see it was filed on the 13th. Comes plaintiff Richard William Campbell, an individual, and he files the following complaint against Azalia Lexi. She's going to be known as defendant or Lexi. Again, I blocked out her name, and if you see Lexi in the writing, it's because I put that there. And he's not only just suing her, he's suing does 1 through 10, which are any woman who made any allegations against him that, that may have reached out to OTK and said, hey, me too.
Was relayed to me by Lexi that as been communicated to her, there were several other victims and that there are corroborating factors in each story. She told me that she is also aware of one other victim that has a similar theater story to hers, and others that have stated he without consent.
So what does it say? This is an all too typical case of the super fan groupie who has consensual sex with her crush. In this case, a popular influencer demands more of her crush's time than he can give. And then when he rejects her demands for a serious relationship, retaliates against him by trying to tarnish his reputation and have him canceled by posting lies on the internet accusing him of rape. God damn. Rich is a popular social media influencer, content creator, and digital talent for the video gaming community industry. We know he's the founder of OTK, One True King. He previously hosted esports events and created content for various video games, including World of Warcraft. Unfortunately, he has found himself at the target of Lexi's vicious, repulsive, and conspicuously defamatory rants on social media. Specifically, Lexi, an online influencer, OnlyFans model, and gamer groupie, and specifically Campbell groupie, who has a history of making false rape allegations, now alleges that Campbell SA'd her when she invited herself over to his home after midnight after a night on the town with her friends. Like, whoa, I mean, looking at those text messages, it can actually go either way. Here are the text messages, where it's like, hey, are you in New York? Yeah, oh, Ish, how long would it be cool to hang? Oh, what you doing tonight? She like, look, I'm here, but I'm leaving tomorrow. Me and my friends are just at a bar, which, shows that she's drinking for a bit. No formal plans, just catching up a bit. He says, if you want to hang out later, let me know. I was already in bed. I would catch up with you, but it's okay if you're already in bed. Would you want to come chill here? It's okay. I don't think that's something I'm comfortable with. More, hey, I would love to see you. Too bad you're already out of commission, but no worries. He's trying to get her to come over so he can, I'm saying. He's like, hey, I got a little movie theater in my building. Would you want to chill there? I don't have a trek in me to go out this late, but that way we could chill and it's not in my apartment. So, the goal is to get her on the property. Get her on the property, then you can see what will happen. Maybe she changed her mind. You never know. But it sounds like, from her testimony that she didn't. More, hey, when would you want to come? He's excited to see her. I'm going to stay up. I'm so excited. Seriously, if it's too late, not a problem. I don't want you to wait around if you're going to go to bed. I'll wait up. Send me a pic and it'll help me stay up. Okay. LMNO, Rich, seriously. What? I want to see your face. I know what that's like. And here she goes. She said, hey, I'll be there. Do you still want me to come by? Now, I believe this is 3 hours ahead of time because of the time change. So it's really 12:13. She says, hey, I'll be there by 12:40. Okay. Is that okay? Or should I just stay in Manhattan? He's like, come over. So she bring herself over there. Now let's get back to his lawsuit. A vindictive Lexi made over a dozen social media posts and comments between December 15th, 2022 and June 29th, 2023, claiming that Campbell raped her. Her claims are ludicrous and an absolute lie. And I said, hey, this is interesting considering like when this first came out, no one was supposed to say that she lied. But now you got the person involved saying, hey, she lied. This is going to get a little hairy. Now he gives the backstory. The parties first met in or around 2018 and by 2019 engaged in consensual intercourse. On numerous occasions, Lexi would often fly to various U.S. cities to see Rich perform at various esports events like Call of Duty League. During many of these trips, the two would engage in consensual intercourse. By Lexi's own admission, her relationship with Campbell was sexual in nature. And although she wanted more of a commitment, Campbell explained to her that he was not in that position to get into a serious relationship. This bothered her and she frequently brought it up to Campbell, which often resulted in a verbal argument. On or about January 30th, Lexi was having dinner with her two friends in Brooklyn, New York, where Campbell lived. And this is right, guys. When you start having intercourse with these women, they get emotionally attached and naturally some of them want more. And when you keep in their mind, y'all may be together. So it could be some turmoil. Let's get back to the lawsuit. Now, don't take this date. This was about to be said is only a piece of what happened that night. After dinner, she went to his apartment. Now, this is his side of the story, but this is not the part where he introduces the key witness. After dinner, she went to Campbell's apartment at midnight. Approximately an hour after arriving at his apartment, the two engaged in consensual intercourse. So now you see he's saying, hey, it was consensual. While laying on the bed afterwards, Lexi again broached the subject of wanting a long-term relationship with Rich. Rich again told Lexi, nope. No, he was not looking for that. Not looking for a long-term relationship. She got angry. She got upset. This is according to his testimony. Lexi started to scream at Campbell and threaten him. Due to her belligerent behavior, Rich said he did not want her to spend the night, as he had to get up early in the morning and he did not want to be up all night rehashing the same old subject. So this is an argument that they have on and off. Lexi refused to leave the apartment at first and then angrily stormed out of the apartment. Angrily stormed out. The two did not get together again after that night. Nearly a year later, on December 15th and 16th, a scorned Lexi posted on her Twitter addressed that Campbell has aided and raped her on January 30th, 2022. God damn. Jesus. So now what do you guys think? Where he's saying, hey, we had consensual intercourse. She tried to talk that relationship talk. I said no, like I normally do. She got upset. And as a result, I asked her to leave. She left angrily. But now, a year later, or almost a year later, she accused him of essaying rape. This is new stuff, right? This is new stuff. On June 20th and 29th, Lexi, shamelessly looking to capitalize on others' fame, posted a Twit longer page of Campbell's celebrity girlfriend, Mia Malkova, a resident of California, who at the time had approximately 11 million Instagram followers, 3 million Twitter followers, 2 million on TikTok. His girlfriend, she out here.
Get your money up, not your funny up.
Jesus. That her boyfriend, Rich, was a rapist. At the time, Malkova's social media post was a photo of Campbell's that read, "I love Rich Campbell." Lexi posts were read thousands of times, if not higher, and Campbell's alleges on information and belief that Lexi intended the post to be understood as referring to Campbell, that in fact many individuals who read Lexi's defamatory post understood she was talking about Rich. So now you got the scorned ex-lover commenting under the new person's photo that he owns some other stuff. This is some petty stuff. I mean, it's horrible. As a result of Lexi's defamatory statements, Campbell's partners at OTK asked him to step down from his lucrative job as a social media influencer. He lost valuable sponsorships. He was essentially canceled. Based on his earnings in 22 alone, he was expected to make $1.8 million
I got money
in 2023 through Twitch revenue and contracted sponsorship. Rich Campbell's management forecasted approximately $1.3 million in 2023 sponsorship revenue, and he had been on track to make $500,000 in Twitch revenue. Campbell has not been paid a single dollar since Lexi's defamatory statement, while Lexi has gained a social media followers by making her defamatory claims. Now, look, he done lost $3.6 million. God damn. I mean, this goes to show you that all it takes is one allegation, and your whole life can be turned upside down. Even if the allegation is not true. I mean, we don't know if it's true or not. I mean, that's going to be for the courts to decide based on the evidence available, I would imagine. $3.6 million gone. Lexi is simply a scorned ex-lover who is upset that her interactions with Rich Campbell ended and is now striking back in an attempt to damage the reputations of Campbell and OTK. She is accomplishing her goal. Campbell wants nothing more than to leave this behind, this painful history with Lexi, who has a track record, of attempting to harm men by making false allegations to cancel him. Oh, snap. Therefore, Campbell seeks legal action against Lexi to reclaim his reputation and unveil Lexi as a fraud for once and all. While Campbell supports free speech, he does not condone malicious lies from a vengeful ex-lover who was hell-bent on destroying his life. Lexi must be held accountable for the blatant falsehoods and disseminating on the internet, which have been viewed by hundreds of thousands, if not millions of individuals, including sponsors, his friends, his family, fans, as well as OTK's millions of followers. So he's still looking, seem like he's looking out for the organization, but Jesus, we're just on the tip of the iceberg at this point. Now, we don't really need to read parties and jurisdiction. I mean, it is what it is, but there were some highlights from it. You know, he talks about his 608,000 Twitch followers and 217K Twitter followers. He's since lost a significant amount of that since then. But this is how he goes on to describe her. When there's about to be a little bit of hearsay, if you will, he's trying to paint a picture. She is a former flight attendant and current social media influencer, Twitch streamer, content creator, digital creator, self-proclaimed world traveler, gamer girl, and OnlyFans model. Oh man. At all relevant times, her friends and acquaintances describe her as jealous, says she embellishes stories to make herself sound cool, is promiscuous, and very open about her sexual exploits, constantly searching for a boyfriend, fishes for compliments, and often makes her body the topic of discussion. Now, this is all of course, hearsay, guys, unless, you know, I mean, I get the picture he's trying to paint, but it is just unnecessary to me. He talks about her website, her followers on TikTok, Instagram, all that good stuff, but there's a line that stood out to me. She has posted online that she needs to find a sugar daddy and calling men derogatory names.
I'm in a bind, Nate.
She could be in a bind. She is no stranger to fabricating rape allegations against people who upset her. Campbell alleges information and belief that in 2017, she claimed her friend's boyfriend, now husband, SA'd her and tore her pants off in the process. Individuals with Lexi during the alleged incident have stated nothing like that ever happened. So, like, who is this husband? Who is this friend? And, you know, with these cases like this, when these allegations are made, will these people come forward and testify on Rich Campbell to establish, hey, this pattern of false allegating? The answer is probably nope. No, people don't want to get involved. Lexi is committing her defamatory attacks knowingly, purposefully, and intentionally targeting and directing her activities towards the state's residents, including Campbell's girlfriend, Malkova, and the intent to harm his reputation, disrupt his business. So in doing so, Lexi availed herself on this forum and created a controversy which arises out of her contacts with the state, which is, you know, fair play and substantial justice mandate personal jurisdiction. So I blocked out which state this is in just to kind of like protect all parties. I know this is a very high charge case and people may feel a certain way, one way or the other. And I just don't want people to be getting harassed. But will she argue jurisdiction? Like this lawsuit gets deeper as we go deeper into it. Okay, now look, here's another part. He will seek leave of this court to amend his complaint to allege the true names and capacities of such defendants when the same have been asserted. So what is he basically saying, guys? Is as soon as he gets the names of all the other people who made false claims against him, he will add them to the lawsuit and maybe more witnesses too, if you can get those statements. So he's leaving the door open to add to his original complaint. All right, now this is all skippable stuff. Now let's get to the facts common to all causes of action. So now you're about to get like a detailed history, but we're not going to read everything. We're just going to read the important parts, okay? So he talks about, hey, 2018, streaming and content creation, he was a successful business. It was for him. He leveled up quickly, fastly, going from playing World of Warcraft to hosting World of Warcraft games, Call of Duty, Dota, H1Z1. He even, grew in his stream, and he eventually started a podcast with fellow gamer Asmongo, Allcraft, I believe is the name of the podcast, who is now one of the biggest names in gaming on the internet, which he is. And you have to wonder, do they still talk? Are they still best friends? I know Asmongo said he will cooperate with anyone who files legal action against him to the fullest extent on both sides. So you have to beg the question, There is rumored that there were other victims who came forward and made allegations against Rich that communicated exclusively with Asmongold. So will he give Rich those names if legally requested?
I encourage any of the people that were affected by Rich and any of these things to seriously consider legal recourse. And of course, if that happens, I will comply in any way I can, limited as it may be. Again, this is not drama. These could be actual crimes.
During this period in his life, Campbell was constantly traveling. You know, he was a workaholic, guys. This guy was in Ohio one day, then he would be in Vegas, then California, then Texas, then he would go to Europe for Warcraft. You know, he worked a lot. But this is when he meets Lexi, 2018 and 2019. They met over social media. He slid into the DMs. They quickly learned that, you know, she was part of a circle of girls who went to all the Call of Duty tournaments and were always trying to date players or commenters. So, I mean, like, look, guys, I don't know nothing about these alleged gamer groupies, if you will, but they exist. Campbell alleges on information and belief that Lexi would often fly into town just to get her cheeks clapped by gamers and musicians. Eventually, this is Lexi, would have a falling out with those girls, and her inability to maintain lasting friendships became evident through recurrent emotional breakdowns that ultimately disrupted the bonds. Now, I mean, this does not prove his guilt or innocence, but I see he's trying to paint a picture to her character, if you will. Eventually, Campbell and Lexi's communications became more frequent, including flirting and sexting, making plans to meet up. They first had consensual intercourse in 2019, and the relationship was, you know, on and off for a period of approximately 2.5 to 3 years. So to 2022, Lexi would often fly to the city, which Rich Campbell was hosting a live stream, and stay with him for the night. As a flight attendant, Lexi often bragged to him that she could fly to meet him for free and would often pay to come to his shows. God damn. I mean, that is actually a nice quality to have in a friend with this type of relationship. To Campbell, it appeared as though she was following the Call of Duty tournament scene around the country and attended events in several states. Their relationship was never serious, and they often went months without talking or seeing each other. Generally, when one or both of them were in another relationship. Damn, I mean, he was just a jump off, basically. Well, you know, she was. Or he was, you know, it can go both ways, but it sounds like she wanted more. Campbell tried to avoid Lexi when she drank because she was obnoxious, loud, belligerent, and confrontational, especially with other girls. She would often pressure Campbell to have a serious relationship with her and then get angry when she said no. Now, this is crazy right here, right? Because this kind of gives credence. I mean, even though you got the text message of her saying she was drinking, him acknowledging that she's drinking. Now, I don't know what his angle is going to be, if he's going to try to acknowledge that, hey, she was drunk, she was drinking, but she consented, even though she supplied those text messages that says, hey, I'm out having drinks with friends. I mean, it's just not a good look for him on that aspect. So let's get back into it. She would frequently yell at him about arguments they had in the past. I mean, what are the odds of a woman bringing up something in the past? She would accuse Campbell of lying and start calling him names, which led to long breaks in their relationship. Then at some point, the two would start sexting again, and eventually Lexi would fly out somewhere to meet Campbell and again engage in, you know what I'm saying? Due to Lexi's behavior, it was not unusual for parties to go months at a time without seeing each other, and the cycle would start over again. They would meet up, you know what I'm saying, clap cheeks, and Lexi would demand he start a relationship, and then he would ghost her ass. Lexi retaliates against Campbell after rejects her attempts to force a long-term relationship. I mean, look, women, don't try to force it. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, sometimes if it walk like a duck, talk like a duck, then it's a duck. You might be in a relationship and you don't even know it. At the time when parties were seeing each other after one of these breaks on or about January 30th, Lexi informed Campbell that she was close to his apartment in Brooklyn, New York, having dinner with two girlfriends. A brief discussion with Campbell, then she took Uber up to his apartment. Approximately an hour after arriving at his apartment building, Campbell and Lexi went from Campbell's couch to his bedroom where she had been many times before, and the couple had intercourse as they'd done many times prior. Now, this differs from the Twit longer, but you know, he's not going to say, yeah, I raped her, and she's not obviously not going to say I was lying. So it's going to be his word versus his, but we're about to introduce someone. After the two finished having intercourse, Lexi waited a few minutes and then tried to engage in more. She wanted more. She needed it. She wanted it. But Campbell did not reciprocate and indicated that he had to get up extremely early. So now she got rejected. I'm telling you, nothing hurts a woman's ego like rejecting her when she's trying to give it to you. I'm telling you, you wanna hurt a woman's ego, reject her when she's trying to give it to you. Because most men don't turn it down. They take it no matter what. Campbell's roommate was home at the time. Now we have entered a witness, okay? That's someone who could have possibly witnessed this happening. Now, I know a lot of people are wondering, well, who is the roommate? Well,
dig, bro. You like to dig.
He shows the roommate a couple times. So this is his roommate. Now, Joe's Pizza with my roommate, a New York Thanksgiving. Hope you guys are enjoying your day the way you want to. Now, look, this was posted January 20th, 2018. You're like, well, Henry, it's old. How can this be his roommate? Well, let's go to something a little bit more new. He's showing off his apartment, but you're eventually about to meet the guy who was present during the whole ordeal.
Guitar.
Like, how is
Steve, are you wearing clothes? Do you want to put on clothes and say hi to my stream?
So his roommate's name is Steve, guys.
This is Steve.
It's nice to meet everyone. Hi.
Oh, look, my man looks exactly like the guy from the picture, but how long have they been living together? Maybe it's something we missing.
Hey.
Hello.
There you go, guys. This is Steve.
I think you have like another package. It's like a big refrigerator in the package room.
I have another refrigerator in the package room.
If you want it.
So this is Steve. I've been living with Steve for how many years?
6.
6. And so we've been living with each other for a long time. Way back in the day.
6 years, guys. And this video was posted August 10th, 2022. So Steve is the guy he's talking about in his lawsuit. So now you have a new witness that can potentially clear his name, and what people are going to say is, well, it's his roommate, he's going to have his back. You're always going to have that narrative per se, but let's get back into the lawsuit. Campbell's roommate was home at the time. The roommates in the apartment have paper thin walls and could hear the parties kissing, shoes and belts dropping on the floor, Campbell's bed moving back and forth as there was no carpet. Lexi making some loud ass noises. At no point did Campbell's roommate ever hear Lexi tell Campbell to stop. Ooh. To the contrary, he heard usually loud her making noises as she get her cheeks clapped, and Steve was his roommate. So now you have a witness who Rich places at the scene of the incident. Where's the statement from him? It's no statement, but that can always come later in the amended complaint should it get that far. As the two lay in bed, Lexi again approached the subject of getting into more serious dating type relationship with Campbell. He calmly informed Lexi that she knew he was not interested in a serious relationship and that he was tired. Seemingly surprised by Campbell's response, Lexi's attitude suddenly changed. Now, she just got rejected, and now the relationship talks, he's dead in that too. She's probably not in a good mood if true. She immediately became extremely belligerent, calling Campbell's names and demanding to know why Campbell would not commit to her, as Campbell tried to again explain his position. Lexi kept interrupting her. I mean, you've been in an argument. When you say something, they just talk over you. You are making no progress. No progress. If you've been in a relationship, you've probably been there before. He tried to calm her down again and explain to her that he had an early day and needed to go to sleep. Trust me, when they want to argue, they don't give two shits about your day. Lexi ignored his request and continued to yell at him and refuse. I mean, the roommate had to hear this. If they're yelling, the roommate is hearing this. He tried to get her to calm down. As a result, Campbell told her to leave his apartment, go to sleep at her friend's place, and as was her original plan. Campbell even offered to pay Lexi's Uber ride, but she refused and angrily left the apartment. Campbell later texted her and asked her if she was okay because he did not like seeing Lexi upset. At no time during the argument did she ever accuse him of rape. So now we're at the evidence portion. So by February 2nd, Lexi was back to posting photos of herself and photos of herself and her friend on a bed, which there they are on a bed together. I mean, I don't know what this is supposed to prove or anything, but maybe suggest that she's, back to her normal business. I don't know what that's supposed to prove. Maybe she's back to her normal business. And he incorporated the pictures, the things that she was posting on the 2nd, on the 5th. Just, hey, she's posting pictures. But now Campbell and Lexi did not speak after January 30th incident. Campbell had recently met Malkova and focused all of the intention and efforts into pursuing and developing a long-term relationship with her, which he was able to do. Since both of them are internet celebrities, news of their relationship was often discussed. Now we're about to get into some of the defamatory tweets that were made. Okay. Approximately 11 months after the January 30th incident, December 15th, jealous Lexi made the following defamatory post on her Twitter after listening to an interview with Malkova, where she talked about the relationship. Here's the tweet where her saying that he assaulted me. Another tweet that she posted was on December 15th, where he said, I did. Rape cases are very difficult and generally not believed, especially when someone has the status he has, but people deserve to know. So we have that tweet. We have more stuff. These are excerpts from her Twit longer that was posted on December 16th. We've already went through that ad nauseum. She talks about, he talks about how her Twit longer has over 1 million views. Well, it has thousands of views, but it's literally over 1 million as of today. Notably, rather than going to the authorities to make a report of the alleged assaults, Campbell alleges on information and belief that approximately 10 minutes after an alleged assault by Lexi, she posted on Twitter she may have been still in his apartment about clothes and PC gaming. Now, I did do a little digging, and the clothes post, I believe, is right here, which it came on the 31st. I would sell my soul for that at 3:39 p.m. So this is kind of like the next day where she's looking at clothes. Now, I'm still, again, I don't know what this has to do with the allegations accused against him, but maybe it's to show that, hey, she didn't post about this. Now, the funny thing is, she did post the mourning the loss of who you used to be on the same day. Let's get to that tweet right here at 4:19 p.m. Now, he still posts some more photos of her. Now, this is all going to be in his evidence as he see exhibits. Now, I don't have the exhibits, but I were able to find some of them. What else did she do? The lawsuit is almost 1 year later. Now, he talks about this, right? Further, rather than go to the authorities and make an alleged SA, the scoring Lexi did not decided to take her complaint to social media, which is the court of public opinion, nearly 11 months later, in an attempt to ruin Campbell's reputation and gain a social following. As expected, she did see a rise. Now, look, the same thing could be said for Rich. Why did you wait almost a year? Now, I know the statute of limitations for defamation in most states expires after a year, but why not instantly file your lawsuit against her when the allegations came out and you lost everything? Why wait almost a year to do it? You see how I got questions for both sides. Now, he goes on to talk about the post that she made where she talks about how he violated her. And, you know, she's suffered trauma. What else comes up? You know, she didn't invite him over. I'm not inviting someone to grape me because I posted photos with, you know, she does the whole swimsuit thing. Now, this is about to get wild, guys. Remember at the beginning of this video when I said, hey, you received a phone call from someone high up in the organization. And then he received another phone call from someone high up in the organization, plus another person. Now we're about to get to that story and how he may have been screwed out of his equity in OTK. Depending on how you look at the story, it can go both ways. OTK forces Campbell to issue a statement resigning from OTK as a result of Lexi defamatory statements. Now, by December 2022, Campbell was growing OTK and his social media presence, among other things, streaming regularly and focusing on being on camera talent. Campbell was streaming weekly shows in Austin, Texas, flying to LA on Mondays to host Tuesday night gaming. He was also streaming the new World of Warcraft expansion in Texas. Campbell's busy schedule culminated when he flew to Bern, Switzerland to host the Race to the World First Vault for World of Warcraft on the Echo channel, you know, the event that was sponsored by them. After taking a long, tiring flight from the United States to Zurich, Campbell boarded a train to Bern, checked into his hotel room, changed his clothes, got right on camera to host the event. Campbell was in the middle of casting. He was doing a play-by-play when casting the show, when Lexi's 12/16 Twit longer statement posted. Notice how there was no real address of her original statement that was made on the 15th. Now, here we go. Who do you think caught him? Campbell learned of the post while casting the Echo show. During a break, Campbell, Rich, received a call from OTK's then COO to discuss the post. What does he say? The COO informed Campbell that the 12/16/22 Twit longer statement was not getting any traction and said, don't worry about it. Like,
hey, yo, what the fuck?
Could you imagine this? You were the COO. Your CEO gets accused of something heinous. You call him, and according to Rich, he was told it's not gaining traction. Don't worry about it. Now, this is not going to look good with, you know, OTK being, you know, all the rumors of cover-ups and whatnot. But those are all alleged. But who was the COO? Now, my guess, I can't say this with absolute certainty. I suspect it was none other than Tips Out. A special message from the COO. This post is from October 3rd, 2021. Give me 1 second. Let me show you guys. It's from October 3rd, 2021. Now, I know this happened, you know, towards the end of 2022, but was there any change from Tips being COO then until Rich's departure? Now, ironically, when looking at Ms. Kiff's legal battle with Adriana over the defamation, someone who regards themselves as the CEO became CEO on the same day that Rich stepped down from the company. Co-founder, member of the board of directors, and the president and chief executive officer of OTK Media. Oh, who's the CEO? Hereinafter, OTK. I think it's tips out. All right. I have held the position of CEO and secretary since December 16, 2022, and previously served in the other executive roles. The CEO called Campbell shortly after. When Campbell answered the phone, he was met with panic voices. On the phone was the COO and OTK's lawyer at the time, the lawyer who Campbell had previously worked closely with. As chief executive officer of OTK, Campbell understood the lawyer to be representing him in his individual capacity and or in his capacity as OTK CEO. Pay attention, guys. This word gets really tricky. At no time during the call was Campbell advised that he was not personally represented by the lawyer or that Campbell should seek his own lawyer because the lawyer was only given advice as OTK's counsel. Now, this is a little murky. What do you guys make of it? He goes on to say the proper protocol for OTK and the lawyer at the time would have been to inform Campbell that the lawyer could not give him legal advice and that Campbell should seek counsel immediately. God damn. God damn. After that, OTK and the lawyer should have initiated an independent investigation into Lexi's claims, just as the company had done about 3 months earlier when the SA allegations were made against founder Ms. Kiff. Now, you have to wonder, right? Did OTK act too fast? Did they jump too quick, considering now you have this lawsuit where basically Rich is denying everything to the point where he's like, hey, I'm suing him in the court of law for my reputation back. And why didn't you guys investigate the allegations for me like you did for Mizkiff, where he was able to step away temporarily while they sorted out everything? You have to wonder, right? What was so compelling for OTK to make this decision so quickly? What was the, hey, we believe this to be true? What was their smoking gun, or what did they need to hear to say, hey, Rich, you're out of here? What did they need to hear? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section. Let's keep going. OTK did none of that. Instead, the COO and the lawyer forcibly instructed Campbell that he had to issue a public statement immediately. God damn, they just was like, do that shit. Which the lawyer would draft for him. So that tweet, that was not Rich's, right? Based on this, the COO represented to Campbell that he should not worry that his equity in OTK would be protected and that the Lexi allegations would blow over and they would figure everything out after Campbell issued his post. Like, damn, man, you got to wonder, right? You have to wonder, like, why would you tell me to make this post? Now, the CEO also represented that OTK would issue a neutral post afterwards. So now it sounds like we're in bait and switch territory right here. Hey, do this and this will happen. And then after that, that don't happen. Okay. An exhausted, jet-lagged Campbell listened to the instructions of the COO, which is trying to say, hey, he was not well within his functions, faculties to make this decision, because this is such a huge decision to make. The legal ramifications of that tweet are about to be binding per se. An exhausted, jet-lagged Campbell listened to the instructions of the COO, and the COO and said he would comply with the request. Moments later, the lawyer drafted a tweet that he had composed for Campbell to post and emailed the statement to Campbell. The lawyer actually waited on the phone for Campbell to post the tweet, and exhausted Campbell, in reliance on the COO and OTK's representations and believing that he was being advised by legal counsel and having not been advised to seek separate counsel, posted the statement drafted by the lawyer. It initiated among other misleading statements, that Campbell had been requested to resign as a result of her defamatory statement and that he agreed to the request. Damn. Man, oh man. Do you guys feel for Rich Campbell? Because it sounds like he didn't know. Neither the COO nor the lawyer ever discussed with Campbell the likely result of such a tweet. Instead, they demanded that Campbell immediately make the post, the 12/16/2022 Campbell statement, without the advice of separate legal counsel or the benefit or properly evaluating how to respond to Lexi's defamatory statement. So basically, the tweet was used to get him out the company. No way he sends that tweet knowing the end result. If you say, hey, well, you know, your equity is fine and you're going to be fine, we're going to do an investigation, we're just doing this to save face. You put out the tweet, they like, sorry, that shit's legally binding, brother. You're out. God damn. I mean, you know, and they put out their tweet that, you know, they learned of the allegations, you know, he's out the company. Asmongold did the video. Everyone reacted. It was a crazy thing. But you got to remember, she posted the tweet longer and he was out of the company officially a little over 6 hours later. So what type of investigation could be done that would lead to the level of conviction for Rich inside the organization? Now, I know Asmon said, well, I'm going to protect the privacy of the people. I know there's rumors of other victims, but, you know, these allegations sometimes have so much weight with little to no evidence. And as you see, Rich is like, these were not true, but he's now out of the company he started. He's out of millions of dollars. Everyone looks at him like as a creep. And now he's trying to claw back. I wonder, will anyone, you know, take back what they said? Will other people come forward? I wonder how this case is going to grow, if it grows at all, because sometimes, you know, OTK just ignores things, but, you know, let's keep it going. So Campbell called the CEO to question why OTK wrote something so different from what they had told Campbell he was going to be posted. So bait and switch. The COO told Campbell he was overreacting, then ceased to communicate with him for months. So damn, they stalled him out. Talk about friends, huh? Build an organization with people, and Campbell is canceled as a result of Lexi's defamatory statements. Campbell lost significant sponsorships and deals by other contracts. By way of example, on December 19th, Enthusiast Gaming unilaterally terminated several of Campbell's lucrative agreements with the company, citing Lexi defamatory allegations. So now he's losing everything. He also lost income from Twitch as well as equity value in OTK, which he took years to build. Jesus, man. Campbell alleges on information and belief as a result of Lexi's defamatory statements, he lost millions of dollars in sponsorships, other contracts, as well as future sponsorships and other contracts, including like all these companies that would have happily signed him. But, you know, she doesn't stop there. You know, she continues in 2023 to post about Rich. So you have this post in that she made 2023. Lexi made several defamatory posts about Rich Campbell on Malkova's Twitter page in hopes of destroying not only Campbell's reputation, but Malkova's reputation in business as well. So now she's posted on the girlfriend's page, which means I guess they're still together. Shout out to her from holding them down if true. Like, you know, you don't get real ones like that anymore. They put the grape on you. They be skedaddling. Twitter loves you and the fact that you have a boyfriend that grape people. Like, God damn, Lexi. On June 20th, another statement via the Twit Longer statement. This is a different Twit Longer. I couldn't find this Twit Longer, but she said, hey, yeah, small enough for the dude who grapes women. Jesus, that was viewed about 5,200 times. I believe she deleted them because I was searching for them shits.
Dig, bro. You like to dig.
What else did she make? You know, your boyfriend's a grapist. Like, she just keeps going like, hey, he's a grapist. He grapes people. Your boyfriend raped me. All this other stuff. You like, God damn, Jesus, all on the 29th. I don't know what Mia Malkova did, but sometimes, hey, people get set off. But you see all these allegations. Like, I can't imagine him putting this stuff in there without having screenshots of it, as he says, Exhibit 14. They may have deleted them off the post because what she was doing is she was posting under Mia's stuff so she can get the most tracking. You know, I mean, it's a Twitter hack, guys. If you want to get some traction, you want to get some impressions, post under someone popular saying some stuff. You know, everybody does it for the most part. Everybody does it. I mean, he tries to say that, you know, her popularity has risen, but I mean, but like based on these numbers, like she gained like 100 TikTok followers. Oh my goodness. 26 followers she gained on like 2,600 on Twitter, 600 on Instagram. And this was just a short period from then. I'm sure her numbers have increased. I mean, he also goes on to say like, look, she's posted in, you know, bathing suits and swimsuits and lingerie. And, you know, of these 125 Twitter tweets, 95 of them are in bathing suits, lingerie, you know, showing off her body. And it goes on and on about that. She continues to call Campbell a rapist on his social media platforms. Or her own, she chooses the most bang for a buck possible when posting these lies on Malkova's social media, as she's approximately 15 million views on various social platforms. So now we get into, you know, the cases. Hey, defamation. These are the charges. What else? I mean, it's not much to see after this. You know, he suffered loss of reputation, shame, and mortification. He can definitely make a case for that. Now, intentional interference with the contract. Like, look, he put the contracts. So you look at it. Hey, contract with OTK, Enthusiast Gaming. He had a talent agreement, a NordVPN sponsorship. So he's putting the contract. So I imagine he has proof that, hey, I had contracts of this value that I've lost as a result of this. These charges he wants well in excess of the minimum jurisdiction of this court, which amount, you know, should be subject to proof at trial. The same thing as her. Intentional interference with prospective economic advantage. You know, like look, he lists all these companies. He says she was aware of this. She created that defamatory statement with the intention to dethrone him. The fourth clause, neglect, interference with prospective economic. These all kind of like mirror the same, guys. Hey, I lost these contracts because of your statements. Okay, that's pretty much all it. Fifth clause, you know, intentional infliction of emotional distress. You know, I always say, you know, this is the hardest thing to prove in court. It got to be egregious. No, she got to be damn near harassing you, like banging on your door at midnight. Okay. And he makes the same thing. You know, he says, look, guys, emotional injuries, including, you know, he's unable to sleep, severe emotional distress, you know, was not mild or brief, rather is so substantial or long lasting that no reasonable person in a civilized society should be expected to bear it. Like, bruh. I mean, it is a hard allegation. I'm not gonna try to make light of it. But you know, he's like, look, humiliation, depression, anguish, embarrassment, fright, shock, anxiety. I mean, no mention of therapy. I'm telling you guys, if someone wrongs you and you want to make a strong, compelling case, go to therapy for a year and say you're still in therapy during a lawsuit. It makes for a stronger case. He wants a jury trial just like Donnie Depp. You know, here we go. And remember, he lost $3.6 million just in this year alone. And that was just on the low end. And, you know, he's just suing for money. He's going to bankrupt her. If he wins this, it bankrupts her. And the thing about punitive damages, though, punitive damages, bankruptcy does not clear, especially like if it's like with malice. Like he made up this statement knowing that it didn't happen. If he has like proof, if that roommate comes out and just sinks her case and says, hey, I was there. This is what I heard. This is what I observed. He's deemed credible, then that would be a strong, compelling case for Rich Campbell. But as of right now, she has, you know, hey, I said he assaulted me and that's my word. You should believe me and not question it. You're going to have the people like that who say, yeah, you shouldn't question it. But sometimes you got to believe all evidence. And right now her evidence is his word, where he has a potential witness that can clear his name. Now, as far as the other people who have spoken to Asmongold or others that alleged abuse, I don't know. Will they come forward, or will, you know, they see that he's not playing and they say, look, no, I'm not coming forward. I see he's suing people. He's suing people who says that happened, and maybe they don't have proof. I don't know. But what do you guys think about both lawsuits, both cases? Let me know in the comments section. Hopefully this video's a dub, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.